Time for the hot topic of the hour. It is day 23 of the government shutdown. There is no end in sight still. Democratic senators blocking a 12th Republican attempt to reopen the government yesterday. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer leading that charge as he demands a meeting with President Trump, who agreed to a meet. But it is after, this is Mr. Trump saying the Democrats have to reopen the government. Then he will sit down with Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries. Now, as the Democrats refuse to negotiate, Oregon Senator Jeff Merkley gave a 22-hour speech on the floor, protesting, what he calls Trump's grave threats to democracy. Here's a little snippet of that.
Colleagues, I'm coming tonight to the floor of this Senate to ring the alarm bells, because we have become an authoritarian nation over the last 9 months. The lump of coal that my Republican colleagues put in stockings across America is a doubling of the cost, on average, of buying insurance. We have a president so willing, so determined to actually exercise the powers of a king, the authoritarian powers. We're in deep trouble. Our Constitution is being shredded by the president, and you're helping.
So both Chuck Schumer and fellow Democratic Senator Elizabeth Warren praising Merkley. Watch.
Mr. President, let me express the profound gratitude of all of us for his amazing tour de force over these many hours. Jeff Merkley has been the Paul Revere of 21st century America, literally, figuratively riding from one corner of this country to the other, alerting people to the danger our democracy is in with the would-be king as president. No one has done it better.
My friend Senator Jeff Merkley is ringing the alarm bell. He is carrying the momentum of millions of peaceful protesters at No King's Day directly onto the floor of the United States Senate for all of the spineless Republicans in Congress.
And then listen to this. House Minority Whip Catherine Clark getting major backlash over this comment on the shutdown. The quiet part out loud, if you will.
Shutdowns are terrible. And of course, there will be families that are going to suffer. We take that responsibility very seriously, but it is one of the few leveraged times we have.
And later today, the Senate expected to take a key test vote on a bill that pays federal workers who are showing up during the shutdown without getting paid. Many Democrats have said that they plan to block this. This is reported in Axios and multiple periodicals this morning, Ashley. They're actually going to vote to not pay federal workers. They're doubling down.
And the military again. Yeah. So there is absolutely, Cheryl, no end in sight, which it's actually really shocking to me, because I was, these shutdown things have been happening so much recently, and I'm like, oh, they're going to work it out. Absolutely not. The Democrats are trying to depend on the president. He leaves tomorrow. He's not going to be here, and he doesn't have any interest in negotiating. So, but I just want to go back real quick. The Merkley language, the Senator Warren language, it's very dangerous language, and it continues to be used by the Democrats. And I think that the reason we're in this situation with some of the violence is because of this.
Well, and they have not let up despite multiple acts of violence, like we saw with, well, frankly, Charlie Kirk. But, and also, too, it's the economics of this are really starting to take a toll. I mean, the more the shutdown go on, you have ancillary effects on the economy. What happens, and I think it's egregious, frankly, that these Democrats are reportedly going to vote no to at least pay some of these essential personnel.
It's terrible. I mean, so they say on average you lose 0.2% GDP every single week the government shut down. And if you look at Polymarket, they've only got a 20% chance right now of us actually solving this by October 31st. 62% by November 15th. That's almost a coin flip. So this thing is likely going to continue to drag on, because the Democrats, rather than trying to serve the American people, they would rather do this performative political theater kind of stunt just to prove a point. And it just doesn't make sense. And, The whole, like, calling President Trump a king, why? Because he wants to eliminate fraud, waste, and abuse from Medicare and Medicaid? Why? Because he prefers law and order and safety for American citizens over allowing the inmates to run the asylum? How does that make him a king?
And listening to Representative Catherine Clark, and she's the Democratic whip to her in the House, hearing her just say, well, of course it's painful. I mean, do you not understand the political calculation you're making here? When people are sitting at home in your district and they're not getting paid, and the government is shut down, and they can't get a passport processed,
Absolutely.
and their flights are delayed, which I've been bringing up this week.
Well, yes,
airports.
Exactly, but there's campaign ads being made right now as soon as she's, about what she said, because it's a horrible statement that she made. But I also think that, there are some things next week that happen. The November 1st date in regards to the open enrollment for Obamacare. Is that really a trigger? Probably. There's also October 28th is when they miss the federal government misses their full paycheck. All of a sudden, already they've had a portion of one, but they missed their full one on the 28th. So are those trigger points? I don't know.
But a trigger for who, I think, is my question, right?
Well, but it would be the only way this gets solved, I think, is if the American people that are affected every day just start really making noise, and the airports. Because right now, there's another poll out yesterday that said only 21% of Americans feel that they are infected by this shutdown, and I just don't think that's enough to get this moving.
To put the pressure on to get something done in D.C. Well, Senate Democrats, we've talked about this, demanding a health care subsidy deal. They want to extend the Obamacare subsidies as part of any funding deal before signing and defending subsidizing health care for early retirees. That's more than 24 million Americans who are enrolled right now in Obamacare. The open enrollment period for those plans, like you just mentioned, that's November 1st, and that's a really good point. At the same time, again, this goes back to when you start, Mark, to go after the wallets of Americans, they start to pay attention.
Without
and the Democrats are hanging on to that. I don't know if it's going to fly, but that's what they're hanging on.
And let's be clear, Obamacare, since it was introduced, has substantially increased health insurance costs for employers and employees, so much so that many employers have scrapped their Cadillac health insurance plans, and they've now pivoted over to high-deductible HSA plans, which hurt lower-income families the most, and then middle America. High-income families, they might be able to withstand that, but this is really punishing the people the Dems pretend like they're trying to solve for.
I brought this up earlier. I know we got to run, but 7% of Americans overall are getting ACA subsidies. Tana Lodesha was here yesterday, Ashley. She made the point, look, a lot of that money that does end up going towards the Obamacare subsidies doesn't actually get used, and so it ends up in the hands of the insurance companies.
Oh, absolutely. And to be honest with you, the Democrats using this, look, these expire the end of the year. I mean, maybe I'm a little jaded because I live in this world every day. They don't need to pass anything until the end of the year, and so the Democrats holding this as a hostage just doesn't make any sense at all.
And they're hanging on. Well, we've got a lot coming up this morning about the shutdown.